Imagine waking up one morning, ready to tackle the day ahead. You grab your coffee, take a sip, and step out into the world. But wait, something's not right. Instead of the usual sights and sounds, there it is, towering before you, a massive wall, slicing your city in two. Crazy, huh? Well, for the people of Berlin, this was just another day. Today, we're digging into the hidden stories of the Berlin Wall, a symbol that loomed large over an entire era. From daring escapes to twists of fate, these tales are sure to keep you glued to your seat. So, strap in and prepare to uncover the secrets of history like never before. 10 things you may not know about the Berlin Wall. More than 5,000 people managed to flee over or under the iconic Cold War emblem, which is especially astounding given that the Berlin Wall was actually two walls. 1. The fall of the Berlin Wall happened by mistake. Günter Schabowski, an East German Politburo member, prematurely announced the lifting of travel visa requirements at a news conference on the evening of November 9, 1989. When asked when the new policy will start, he replied, "Immediately, without delay." In reality, the policy was to be published the next day, and East Germans would still have had to go through a lengthy visa application process. Schabowski's muddled responses, along with false media reports that border crossings had opened, prompted hundreds of East Berliners to march to the Berlin Wall. Harald Jäger, the commanding officer on duty at the Bornholmer Street checkpoint, faced an increasingly large and frustrated mob. Receiving insults rather than directions from his superiors and nervously awaiting the results of his cancer diagnostic tests the next day, the overwhelmed Jäger opened the border crossing on his own, and the other gates followed suit. 2. The Berlin Wall was erected more than 15 years into the Cold War. From 1949 to 1961, more than 2 million East Germans escaped to the West, the majority of whom were skilled laborers and professionals. The Soviet Union had initially denied East Germany's request to erect the wall in 1953, but with defections through West Berlin approaching 1,000 per day by the summer of 1961, Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev eventually yielded. On the morning of August 13, 1961, Berlin inhabitants awakened to see barbed wire fencing constructed along the city's east and west borders. Days afterward, East Germany began to reinforce the barrier with concrete. 3. The Berlin Wall was actually two walls. The 27-mile section of the Berlin barrier that separated East and West was made up of two concrete walls separated by a death strip up to 160 yards wide, which had hundreds of watchtowers, miles of anti-vehicle trenches, guard dog runs, floodlights, and tripwire machine guns. 4. More than 100 people died trying to cross the Berlin Wall. According to the Center for Research on Contemporary History Potsdam and the Berlin Wall Memorial Site and Documentation Center, at least 138 persons were killed, injured, or committed suicide after attempting to flee across the Berlin Wall. Other researchers estimate the death toll considerably higher. Ida Siekman, the first victim, killed on August 22, 1961, when she attempted to jump from her fourth-floor East Berlin apartment window into a West Berlin street. The final fatality happened in March 1989, when a teenage East German attempting to fly over the wall in a hot air balloon collided with electricity lines. 5. More than 5,000 escaped by going over and under the Berlin Wall. The first defector to pass the Berlin Wall was 19-year-old East German border guard Corporal Konrad Schumann, who was captured on film leaping over a 3-foot-high roll of barbed wire just 2 days after East Germany closed the border. As the Berlin Wall became more complex, so did escape plans. Fugitives hid in secret compartments of cars driven by visitors from West Berlin, constructed secret tunnels, and crawled via sewers. The three Bethke brothers staged the most spectacular escapes. In 1975, the eldest brother Ingo fled by floating on an inflatable mattress across the Elbe River, and 8 years later, brother Holger soared over the wall on a steel rope fired with a bow and arrow to a West Berlin rooftop. In 1989, the pair flew an ultralight plane over the wall and back to pick up youngest brother Egbert. 6. John F. Kennedy expressed relief when the Berlin Wall was erected. In June 1961, Khrushchev threatened President John F. Kennedy with a blockade of West Berlin if Western forces were not removed, a hostile act that may lead to war. When Kennedy learned that the communists had walled off East Berlin rather than cutting off West Berlin, he told an assistant, "It's not a very nice solution, but a wall is a hell of a lot better than war." This marks the end of the Berlin crisis. The other side panicked, not us. We're going to do nothing now because there is no other option but war. 7. Kennedy did not tell Berliners he was a jelly donut. On June 26, 1963, Kennedy famously declared to a gathering near the Berlin Wall, "Ich bin ein Berliner." The president wanted to demonstrate solidarity with Berlin residents by stating that he was one of them, but some opponents said that by adding the indefinite article ein, he actually referred to himself as a jelly donut, known in much of Germany as a Berliner. Linguists argue that the president did not make a grammatical error because ein is required when speaking figuratively, rather than literally, about being of a given country, as Kennedy clearly did. In addition, the jam-filled pastry known as a Berliner in the rest of Germany is called a Pfannkuchen in Berlin, so there would have been no confusion among the listeners. 8. East Germany called the wall the anti-fascist bulwark. Rather than keeping its population inside, the East German government said it built the Berlin Wall to keep Western fascists, spies, and ideas out. 2 weeks after ordering the construction of the anti-fascistischer Schutzwall, East German commander Walter Ulbricht declared, "We have sealed the cracks in the fabric of our house and closed the holes through which the worst enemies of the German people could creep." 9. The Brandenburg Gate had once been part of an 18th century wall. The famed triumphal arch that divides Berlin into East and West was commissioned by Prussian King Frederick William II and served as the iconic backdrop for well-known presidential speeches by John F. Kennedy and Ronald Reagan. The Brandenburg Gate was added to the ancient customs wall that surrounded the city starting in the 1730s when it was finished in 1791. 10. A piece of the wall stands in the bathroom of a Las Vegas casino. In the summer of 1990, the Berlin Wall's official deconstruction got underway. A small number of wall segments were auctioned off and are now strewn all over the world, from the Vatican Gardens to the men's room of the Main Street Station Casino in Las Vegas, where urinals are mounted on a wall segment covered in graffiti and shielded from view by glass. More than 40,000 wall sections were recycled into building materials used for German reconstruction projects. So, there you have it, 10 jaw-dropping facts about the Berlin Wall. From accidental falls to daring escapes, this symbol of division still holds lessons for us today. Ready to dive deeper into history? Let's keep the journey going. Get ready for an incredible ride, because our next video is about to blow your mind. We're uncovering 9 fascinating facts about the Suez Canal. Trust me, you're in for a treat as we explore this vital link between the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. Brace yourselves for an adventure through the history, engineering, and global impact of this remarkable waterway. Don't touch that remote, because you won't want to miss out on these incredible insights. Keep watching to discover the secrets of the Suez Canal like never before.